Well, I'm going to share a tip with you. Here we've got a coaxial cable coming out almost at eye level, a little bit lower than eye level. Why did they do that? Well, they didn't want to use ones down low because they decided to install a dish antenna up on the roof, and the wire comes out and sets on top of this roof and then goes up next to the downspout and goes up on the roof and everything. You can see the wires, see right there. Then they oh, where are they? Right there. This isn't showing very well, is it? Anyways, the wires go down and then it goes in downstairs too, and we're not using those. We ended up deciding to run the cable a different way, and I was hoping to get the cable company to come out here as a cursory before they came to install all of their equipment, to look at the existing conditions, to check out a couple things, and for me to do some stuff before I had them come back. And guess what? They said no, we don't do stuff like that. And so, because when I was painting, I wanted to patch that hole right there. And if we didn't need that, I was hoping we didn't need this cord, and then I was going to patch it before we painted, and then it would have been easier to cover it and stuff. Well, I'm resigned to the fact that everything's been painted now in this master bedroom. Doesn't that look nice? I painted the ceiling 2 coats of white paint. I painted the walls that gray color, painted the baseboard, the door frames, everything. And now I guess I'm going to have to patch this. And what am I going to use? I'm going to use my caulking. I'm just going to use my caulking, my white, what is it? All-purpose acrylic latex caulking, 40-year Alex Plus. And I'm using the white. And I think I can do this in such a manner to where most of that is going to be covered. Okay? And so, because I don't need that cord, I'm just going to poke it into the wall. And I think it'll go. Okay, nice knowing you, mister. You know, should I be nice to the next person in case they ever want to use that so that this doesn't get all messed up? I'll put a piece of masking tape on that. I'll get a piece of masking tape and be right back to show you how I patch this. Okay. I always figure it'd be nice to do things for people later on down the road, let's say. Okay, they can look and see that this is coming through. If we were to ever sell this place, I would tell people, okay, there's a coaxial cable coming in. It's inside the wall right there. Blah de blah de blah. I'm gonna put another extra little piece right over the tip again. Okay. In case they ever want to use the dish antenna on the roof of the condo, they can, if they don't want to do it any different way. Okay, look at that. I could maybe even keep it so it's not pushed in all the way. I think I'll do that. Then I can use that as my backing for the caulking. But I really don't need any backing for the caulking, because I was going to show you how to do it without that. And I take a little screwdriver like this one with the square, the flat, standard, and where the screws are, I just kind of push that all back into the hole. Okay? Because then that'll make it disappear when I put the caulking over it. And I'm gonna kind of check this thing out, make sure everything is kind of folded in. Okay, looks like there's a little piece on the outside there. Okay, I guess that's good enough. I'm gonna caulk this in such a way to where I'm hoping not to get it all over the wall. Okay, Got a small tip on my caulk gun, and I'm gonna put it in here. And I'm gonna get it just a hair more than what I need, just by a little, okay? Now, if I didn't have that piece in there for backing, I would have just put it on the edge of the sheetrock all the way around until that sucked it in. And then I could let it stick out, and then when I take my putty knife, it would all sink into there. Okay, now the trick is not to go like that. You want to start from the middle and go down and then around, because if you do that with the caulking, it drags and it's going to pull it away from whichever. If I pull it down this way, I'm going to have a gap over here. If I pull it this way, I'm going to have a gap over here. And then the rest of the caulking is going to get all over the wall. I don't want it on the wall, do I? I'm going to just take it right like that. Okay, and I can wipe that off. I'm just going to wipe it off, okay? Like that. Just wipe that off. Go from the middle on up, wipe it off. And that's all she wrote, folk. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now. Okay, if you see any remnants around the edge, you can wipe that off. Yeah, there. Okay, now after a day, when that dries, it's going to pucker and it's going to sink in. So this is like a 2-day project, and I'm painting downstairs still. I'm still having to paint door frames and door casing and cutting in the walls down next to the baseboard. So I'm here for a few more days, so I thought, hey, I better do this first. Okay. Look, it didn't want to stick, so I'm going to take that off and try again. Get your caulking tube tip clean before you put that on there. Okay? I'm gonna try not to get it all over the place. That's the last thing you want, is to get it all over, because then when you paint it, you're gonna see all that. Okay, on these small ones, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going from the middle on out, and then I'm wiping off the excess. Okay, that'll keep your patch to a minimum. Somebody's hardly ever gonna see that unless you point it out to them. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. And chances are, I'm probably gonna have to go over those small ones one more time. This one, once it sinks in, like tomorrow, I'm gonna put a little bit more on. I'm gonna do the same thing. Then when that dries, I'm gonna put a little bit of caulking on top. Tap, 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 and I'm gonna go whoosh, and mimic the spray texture knockdown on the wall. You see the spray texture knockdown? Can you see it? Maybe you can see it over here. There you go. See that? Now I'm going to put a little bit of that on this after it dries. But see how good I got that? I mean, yeah, that one's got just a hair, little bit of a line in it, but that's okay. That's going to sink in, and I know I'm going to have to put some more on there. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for that. I'm not taking any spackle and doing it. All I got is my caulking, and the caulking will be fine. Okay, had I had spackle, it's hard to get the spackle just in a very small little hole. Okay, unless you put it on properly and just put it where it needs. Don't take it out of the spackle can and take your putty knife and dip in there and then take it. Oh, there's a little piece. Splat, splat, splat. Boom, 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 boom. Now all of a sudden, yeah. Now you can see the patch. Oh yeah, I see where Joe patched the wall. Right there. Boom, boom, boom. And you don't want that. Okay? So there's that coaxial cable. All nicely gone now. I've been you know, it's in the corner. Granted, the wall's already been painted, but because the wall is brand new, I should be able to put the paint on there nice, and it's going to blend in. Plus it's in a corner, plus it's in the shade. If it was out right here, let's say in the sun, okay, and you had a nice little patch, eye level or something, when you get all done with it and you paint it, you may not be able to see it face on, but if you turn to the side, sideways like that, you'll see it. Or you turn over here, you'll see it. That's just the way it is. Patch is a patch is a patch. But because it's over there, when I get done with it, you're not going to see, I don't think you're going to see it at all. Okay? So don't think you only have to do this once and you think, oh, what's the deal? It's flat. I'll just paint right over it. No, don't paint over it. Or I'll just paint over it after it skins up. Don't do that. Because I'm telling you, after one coat, because of a big hole like that, it's going to sink in. In fact, these small ones could slightly sink in, not as much as the big one, okay? And plus, I want to put that texture stuff on there, and I'll just take the caulking tube and tap it on the wall, dap, 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 dap. And I don't want to do it when it's wet, because if I did it with it's wet, it's not gonna cover properly, and it's gonna want to push my patch in, and then I'm gonna have a pucker there, and when it's all done, it's not gonna be done right. So if you're gonna use caulking, you can use caulking for patches like that. Okay, just know that it's probably going to be at least a 2-day process. Now tomorrow, I'm going to put some more on there. Okay, if I do it first thing in the morning, then in the afternoon I could tap the stuff on. Now, granted, it's in the morning right now. Okay, so at the end of the day, before I leave, well, actually, it might pucker a little bit, but over the night, if I were to put another layer of caulking on this before I leave today, I have a feeling that this stuff's not going to be cured enough, it's not going to be dry enough, it's not going to sink in enough to where once I put that second coat on there, if I do that this afternoon, and then the first thing tomorrow morning when I look at it, you know what? I'll bet you that it'll be sucked in again because the first coat didn't dry overnight, okay? So I'm not gonna put any more on that today, or late this afternoon, tonight, if I leave here at 5, 6 o'clock, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna wait until tomorrow, I'm gonna look at it in the morning, and I'm gonna put another coat on it, okay? Then, at the afternoon, if I want to put that dap, dap, dap caulking on there and then wipe it off as a texture, I could probably do that. But because I'm going to be painting for the next couple days at least, if I don't get to it, I might put the second coat on tomorrow and let it dry overnight before the next morning, tapping it a little bit and knocking it down, okay? So you can take that. So for me, that's going to be a 3-day process. Then once that skins up, then I can paint over it. And when I paint over it, I'm going to paint, I'll probably put 2 coats on there. Okay. Now here's the other thing. I could just leave it and just tap a couple little spots in here and knock that down and wipe off any excess around here. Then when I paint, I could take a very small, tiny artist's paintbrush and just paint that little thing. Just paint this little thing. Just paint that little thing. And not take the paintbrush and... Because if I get a paintbrush this big, well, smaller than that, but then brush it in and have a patch, yay wide, yay long, yay wide, and everything, it's more likely to show up on your wall, especially like if you just have like let's say a picture frame and you've got just a couple pinholes and you want to fix those, just put a little bit of caulking over just the pinholes and wipe off all go ahead and wipe off all the excess. Okay, then after it dries, take an artist brush and just take it and just dab just very carefully where the little holes are, and you're never gonna really see that. You might have to put 2 little coats on there. But if you take a paintbrush and you just go, you're gonna see it. We had some professional painters. If I was at home right now, I'd show you this wall in the bathroom where there's 4 holes. I pointed them out before they painted. I told them that there were some picture frame nails there, and I even left them there so that they knew where they were, so that they could pull them out and they could patch it. And they forgot. Okay? Or they pulled out, one guy pulled the little nails or the little hanger things out, and nobody caulked it. Nobody did anything before they painted. After they painted, I see these 4 little black marks. Sure enough, they didn't do it. So what do you suppose they did? They took the caulking, they put it on there, and they wiped it off with their putty knife, and then they took their paintbrush and then they went, and of course, after it all dried, when I look at it at an angle, I can see them. There they are. One there, one there, one there, one there. Clear as day. Clear as day. When you look at it straight on, you don't see it. But you stand sideways and you see them. The only way they would have been able to fix it had they not have used, they could have used the artist brush and be very, very careful. I wouldn't have seen them. I wouldn't have said anything. But the wall is about almost as wide as this little section right here, okay? It's probably from there to about here. The only way to cover those, if you don't do it any other way and you try to patch it like that and you don't want to see those patches, you got to repaint. First you can do it with the paintbrush. Boom, 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 boom. Do it a couple times, okay? Then, after that's dry, then you've got to paint the entire wall from floor to ceiling. The width of it, and then from the ceiling down to the baseboard, and then you won't see it at all. There's another tip for you. Okay, I'm ready to go to work. It's time for this video to end. Thanks for joining me. Hope you learned something.